Hello YouTube, this is Darkon633 and I'm back with another video review. Today we're going to take a look at the Star Wars Retro Collection Escape from the Death Star board game. Now what's really interesting about this is that this is a part of the Target exclusive Retro Collection, which unlike the Vintage Collection which already exists at major retail stores, and obviously there are some Target exclusives coming up, this is actually based on the original vintage Kenner style figures. Now what I mean by that is that it actually comes with an actual vintage style figure. Now the reason why I say vintage style is because what's interesting about this set is that it includes an exclusive Grand Moff Tarkin figure. That particular character did not make it into the retro/original Kenner line, so that's really cool that Hasbro decided to make him now. Now before anything else, just look at the box. The box is a pretty faithful representation of the original board game that was released in the 70s. Since it did not exist when this game came out, I don't have any attachment, obviously, to this game, but it's nice that they found a way to reissue it with a little bit more than what was included with the original release. Just looking at the front, as you can see, it does include that faithful racing stripe that's pretty much on all the styles of the vintage-styled Star Wars products when it comes to Hasbro. So that's really nice that we actually got another look at that. Now what's also interesting, to make sure that it's different from the original release, Hasbro decided to add a wear design to the packaging. Now that does not mean they actually caused the packaging to be damaged. In reality, they just printed this wear to make it look like it came out from the old age. So it just adds a little bit more to it. On the side, it does have the Kenner logo as usual. It has the classic Leia and Luke Skywalker, as we got there. It says Star Wars Escape from Death Star game again. On the side, same thing with Kenner. On the back, pretty much the same thing. From the back, we have pretty much what it includes. One difference, obviously, is that back in the day it did not have the Disney logo, but other than that, that's about it. So overall, it's a pretty cool looking set. Anyways, we'll now look what's actually included in the set when we come back. So the contents of the box is obviously the game board pieces, which you do need to make from this cardboard material. You pretty much just fold them up for what I could tell. It comes with the stands, in which you actually attach the pieces to. A bunch of cards, including the game cards themselves, and what they considered the Death Star blueprint card, and if I remember correctly, this is something like the Force Generator card or something. I'm not exactly sure what these do. I only briefly looked at the instructions. It also comes with a spinner, which has a place to place the cards, and it does spin. It's made of cardboard material as well. The instruction manual, which is actually just in one sheet, which actually kind of surprised me since a lot of the modern board games are pretty complicated at times, so it's cool that it's only on one sheet on one side. The board game itself, which will now pull out here, it's just your typical kind of board, just one side of there, which is very colorful and looks really nice actually. And obviously, the set comes with an exclusive Tarkin figure, which is kind of hard to get to from this angle. As you can see, because it is a part of the Retro Collection, it is on the older Kenner style card. It does have this Retro Collection sticker, which just also helps to differentiate between the two releases, although for him it's kind of moot since he was not released originally. It does have the wear as normal. On the back, it pretty much is what you expect on this type of card. As an example, here is the Retro Collection card versus a Vintage Collection card, which is, obviously this is a lot more modernized versus what this is, which is like the original style. And obviously inside we do have the figure himself, which we'll now take a look more closely next. And now we're going to take a look at Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, being a Kenner-style figure, you're not going to get a whole lot of articulation. It's very similar to some of the modern figures nowadays, just with less detail. But overall, I think they did a pretty good job actually transitioning the character into this old Kenner-style form. His head does swivel. Kind of doesn't go 360. It kind of stops in the middle there. He does have swivel at the shoulders and swivels at the hips, which is pretty much what you expect for a Kenner-style figure. he does have this blaster, which is nowhere near accurate, obviously. He didn't have a blaster in the film per se, so it doesn't really matter what it comes with, but it's this regular old Kenner-style blaster. It's not a whole lot of details for it, but it's pretty cool for when it came out at the time. As a comparison, here is Tarkin. He does have a little bit of a hard time standing due to the stance that he is designed in. Here he is next to the only other Tarkin figure that I own, and that is the Power of the Force version of Tarkin. He's obviously a little bit shorter, just the way that the stance of the Power of the Force figures are like, and he does have very some articulation. And here he is next to a modern figure, although I'm kind of cheating since I'm using a vintage collection style figure. So here he is next to the Echo Base version of Han that was released recently as a part of the face printed reissues. He also has a little bit of a hard time standing, but let's see if I can try to get him to stand here. I'll need to play around with feet. Maybe he'll stand this time. So there we go. So he does obviously not fit as well with the more modern style figure, since it is a Kenner style figure, but I think he will work well with the older Kenner style figures in general. Since I don't own any of the Kenner figures, I can't really obviously compare them, but it's really nice to see this character finally get released in the modern day, or in this case, in general. All in all, in my opinion, this is a really nice release, and it's a really interesting way to release a figure that was not released back in the day. Now, obviously, when it comes to these figures, I'm pretty sure most kids won't just say, oh, I actually want a Tarkin figure, but since it does come with a board game, it's actually a nicer way to actually release a board game that many people might like nowadays. Not 100% sure how good this game is without actually playing it, but it is a nice way to actually get this out, and it's a pretty nice looking set. For $20, this is definitely worth it, especially for those who might just want the board game in general, or actually want the Tarkin figure. Either way, in my opinion, 20 bucks is definitely a really nice price for this set, and since it did just come out, it's going to be a little bit hard to find, but some areas have been getting a couple of these, so your best bet is to check your local Targets. It's actually not up on the website. Anyways, please comment, rate, and subscribe, and check out Hero Club and Hero Taku. Also check me on Twitter under Darkon633, and also check me out on Instagram under Darkon633 as well. For now, this pretty much just covers what I think is a really nice release, and hopefully Hasbro will continue to release some of these older figures, since it does seem like Target will be having an entire line of these soon, in pretty creative ways. Anyways, I'll be seeing you later, YouTube. Bye.